Even the slightest ripple can signal the beginning of an ambush. The splash of water can mark the moment when the crocodile makes its move. A single moment of vulnerability can be enough for the target to be caught in its powerful jaws and pulled away from safety. Even other predators must remain cautious when entering its territory. Can any creature manage to escape an attack from the ruler beneath the water? Every year, in search of grasslands and water, vast herds of wildebeest face the challenge of crossing the Mara River. But here, Nile crocodiles have also been waiting patiently for their opportunity. One side takes great risks to continue the journey, while the other waits for a chance to survive. As the first wildebeest rush into the river, the water immediately becomes chaotic. The crocodiles remain concealed beneath the surface, making their move only when a target comes within range. For the crocodiles, the migration provides one of the most significant feeding opportunities along this stretch of the river. But the hunt is far from easy. With hundreds of animals crossing at the same time, the crocodiles have only a few moments to select a target. Many wildebeest stay close to the herd and make it across the water before they can be stopped. The sheer size of the herd spreads the risk among many individuals, increasing the chances that most will complete the crossing. As the migration gradually moves away from the riverbank, the crocodiles quietly return to their ambush positions. For the wildebeest, every successful crossing brings them one step closer to fertile grasslands. One side survives through patience, while the other relies on the endurance of the herd. It is this contrast that defines the famous migration across the Mara River. At Africa's watering holes, water sustains life, but it can also be one of the most dangerous places for wildlife. For impalas, every time they lower their heads to drink, they may move closer to a crocodile's ambush zone. Unlike predators that chase their targets across the grasslands, Nile crocodiles conserve energy by waiting in ambush and accelerating only at very close range. They remain nearly motionless beneath the surface, with only their eyes and nostrils exposed, patiently waiting for a target to move within range. For that reason, every successful feeding opportunity can be especially valuable for a crocodile. Before drinking, the impala herd repeatedly raises its heads to scan the surroundings before gradually moving toward the water's edge. But when one individual moves closer than usual, the surface suddenly erupts with movement. The crocodile quickly surges forward, using its strength to gain control of the target in the opening moment. However, not every ambush succeeds. If the danger is detected early enough, an impala can spring backward and quickly escape from the water's edge. When the opportunity disappears, the crocodile quietly sinks beneath the surface again, beginning another cycle of waiting. The encounter at the water's edge is a contest between two survival strategies. The impala relies on vigilance and speed, while the crocodile relies on patience and ambush tactics to wait for the decisive moment. Across Africa, the African buffalo is one of the most formidable animals when it comes to self-defense. With its strong horns forming a protective shield and the combined strength of the herd, even lions often approach with caution. But no matter how powerful these animals are, they still need to reach water, where the balance of advantage can begin to shift. Crocodiles remain almost completely concealed beneath the surface, patiently waiting for a target to move within range. A sudden surge can allow a crocodile to gain control of the buffalo within seconds. If the crocodile can pull the buffalo away from its footing on the riverbank, its advantage increases significantly. But that advantage does not always last. With its greater body mass and a firm footing on land, an adult buffalo still has a chance to break free. In some encounters, nearby herd members may return and apply pressure to support the other buffalo. When several buffalo turn back together and lower their horns, the combined pressure of the herd can force the crocodile to release its target or move away. Encounters along the riverbank are rarely decided by strength alone. Crocodiles rely on patience and their advantage in the water, while African buffaloes survive through physical strength, vigilance, and the power of the herd. Between land and water, every encounter reflects the natural rules of survival. Along Africa's great rivers, the boundary between land and water is where two top predators often cross paths. Lions may need to enter the water to drink or cross a river, while Nile crocodiles often remain concealed in favorable ambush positions. When the distance between them suddenly closes, the calm along the riverbank can disappear in an instant. As the lions swim across the river and enter the ambush zone, a crocodile suddenly surges forward. A short burst is intended to keep the opponent in the water, where the crocodile has a greater advantage in movement. However, if the lion can reach the riverbank in time, it still has a chance to break free. For that reason, most encounters between the two species end very quickly. Crocodiles rarely continue the pursuit on land, while lions are also unlikely to return and challenge them at the water's edge. For both species, an unnecessary injury can affect their ability to survive. The danger increases when adult lions must lead their young across the water. Before they can reach the opposite bank, the surface suddenly erupts with movement. The adults immediately turn back and gather around the young. In the turbulent water, a young lion can become the easiest individual to approach. The rest of the pride quickly leaves the river and gathers again on the bank. Along Africa's rivers, a single moment of lost vigilance can determine the outcome of an entire journey. Across the African grasslands, African wild dogs are known as some of the most effective cooperative predators. They rely on speed, endurance, and close coordination within the pack to pressure their targets. However, whenever they approach the water's edge, those advantages can quickly disappear. Beneath the surface, crocodiles wait patiently. They remain still until movement near the water brings a target within range. For the crocodile, it is an opportunity to use its familiar environment and turn another animal's lack of caution into a successful hunt. As the wild dog pack approaches the water's edge, the surface suddenly erupts with movement. A crocodile surges up from below, targeting the nearest individual. In an instant, a predator can become the one being pursued. In some cases, the other pack members may return, repeatedly moving closer and increasing the chance for the restrained individual to break free. The pack's response demonstrates its strong social bonds, even though approaching the crocodile also puts the other individuals at risk. Every encounter along the riverbank reinforces a familiar rule of nature. Even a predator can become prey when it enters an environment where it no longer holds the advantage. Across the wetlands of South America, caymans are among the most formidable predators in the water. But there is another predator here capable of confronting them. In some wetland regions, jaguars can hunt caymans, creating remarkable encounters between two powerful predators. Jaguars spend much of their time near rivers, are skilled swimmers, and are highly familiar with wetland environments. They carefully observe every movement of their target. When water levels drop, caymans become more exposed in shallow water and along accessible banks. This is also when jaguars have more opportunities to approach. A jaguar quietly closes the distance from behind or from the side, then suddenly moves in to gain control of the target. By approaching silently, the jaguar can make a surprise move and quickly gain control, limiting the cayman's ability to respond. Against a reptile with thick skin and powerful jaws, ending the hunt quickly helps reduce the jaguar's risk of facing a defensive response. An encounter between a jaguar and a cayman is not simply a contest of strength. It is a confrontation between two predators adapted to dominate two very different environments. Across the vast grasslands of Africa, cheetahs are known as the fastest land animals, but they have slender builds. Speed gives them a major advantage when pursuing prey and escaping danger across open terrain. However, whenever they approach the water's edge, that advantage nearly disappears. This is where the balance quickly shifts in favor of the crocodile. Cheetahs are always cautious when approaching rivers. They often stop to observe their surroundings before lowering their heads to drink. Hidden beneath the surface, a crocodile waits until a cheetah moves close enough before suddenly surging forward, leaving little opportunity for the cheetah's speed on land to come into play. If the crocodile gains control during its first move, it quickly pulls the target into the water. The remaining cheetahs immediately move back from the river's edge and keep their distance. An encounter between a crocodile and a cheetah is not a contest of speed, but a contrast between two survival strategies. One relies on patience and an advantage in the water, while the other relies on vigilance and quick reactions to avoid entering a vulnerable position. Nature gives no species an absolute advantage. Every environment has its own rules, and only those that can adapt are able to continue surviving.
Coming into the corner. Yes, you got it, you got it.
After each encounter, the crocodile once again demonstrates its advantage in the water. Its pressure does not come from noise, but from a sudden burst of speed at the right moment. In the wild, speed is most effective when combined with favorable positioning and precise timing. At the river's edge, a single movement can be enough to change the course of an encounter. If you want to see more intense encounters like these, hit like and subscribe.